Bust it.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. It's time again for Political Platform. On this program, we talk politics. We also delve into legal and economic issues, especially if they pertain to the development of Nigeria. As usual, we have so much to share with you this Tuesday. A lot of things breaking in the country. Legal fireworks will continue at the Federal High Court in Abuja between the National Assembly and the Accord Party, with so many others showing interest over whether the court can stop the process of the National Assembly in an attempt to override the refusal of the president to amend the Electoral Act and reorder sequence of election. One newspaper this morning said the National Assembly has lined up 6 senior advocates of Nigeria for the legal fireworks. And one sad development, a report from the Amnesty International, they said they sent in researchers and investigators into Dapchi, and they were able to confirm that calls and informations were made available to the security agencies, the police, and more especially the army, about the movement of Boko Haram terrorists, about 50 of them in Land Cruiser SUVs and other trucks, moving across the northeast up to Dapchi. That calls kept coming, going to the military, but apparently they failed to act on it. The military quickly denied that. But other denials and accusations are also coming up here in Abuja. The vice president, who in recent times has always taken a swipe at the former administration, accusing it of monumental corruption and not doing anything to curb the corrupt activities that took place during the last administration of Goodluck Jonathan. He again, yesterday, during the 7th Presidential Quarterly Business Forum for private sector stakeholders in the economy, alleged that about 150 billion was stolen, frittered away from the treasury in the last 2 weeks before the 2015 election. He didn't say what it was meant for, but you can presume it was either for the prosecution of the election or for people to line their pockets. But the PDP, almost immediately through his spokesperson, Kolo Olobonde, responded, asking the vice president to name the persons involved. That if he has the information, what stops him from prosecuting those, since the federal government controls all the security agencies, including the anti-corruption agencies. And if you have information about those that stole 150 billion, why are you waiting to provide the information to the anti-corruption agencies for them to indeed prosecute? So many other issues. The Inspector General of Police announcing the withdrawal of police attached to public office holders and VIPs. And I will say for the second time since he was appointed, the first time I challenged the Inspector General here that almost every other Inspector General always come up with that claim, and at the end of the day, it will turn out to be mere rhetorics. I challenged the IG that it will not work, but this time around, it appears he has a renewed vigor and he wants to link the president to it. He said he will be sending a memo to the president to detail how police orderlies should be deployed to VIPs. And you know who these VIPs are? They will always put pressure on the president, the IG, or whoever to give them protection, police protection. We need to really do something drastic and radical so that we can stop this. The police has also accused Dino Melaye, a senator representing one of the constituencies in Kogi State, of arming talks. 2 persons were arrested, and they said they confessed to the police that Dino Melaye gave them guns and asked them to recruit more persons. Who will be having the spokesperson of the police, Assistant Commissioner of Police Mushud Jimo, on this program to throw more light on it. We are making efforts to get Dino Melaye for his own input. If we can't get him today, we'll be getting him tomorrow. But we'll also be welcoming a legal practitioner Wale Okwade into this program for his perspectives on some of these issues breaking. Adebayo Boduri is with me in the studio.
Amici, anytime I travel out of this country, whether in Africa, whether in Europe, and to do my journalistic work, something that I usually take away, particularly when you go to Europe or America or whatever to cover assignment, and you see their leaders. I was thrilled at one time. The Canadian Prime Minister was walking out of a conference which I covered in Toronto, and immediately he finished, I walked across to him. He warmly embraced me and we started chatting. What I noticed is that there was not a single armed policeman or policewoman or army or soldier attached to him. We were left alone for close to almost about, and I sought for an interview with him. And he said I should call my cameraman. And I called my cameraman and I interviewed him. There was peace. And I finished. And it was at that stage that you don't even notice the presence of those security men attached to him, because they are far away from him. But here, you will see our leaders at public function. They are going to read a speech or make a speech. You will see armed men at their back, as if they are there for a battle.
In a war front.
As if it's a war front.
In the northeast.
As if it's a war front.
With their guns ready for
and they so much enjoy it in such a way that unless they have those armed men standing behind them, they are not ready to
clinching their guns.
They are not ready to read the speech. I hope we overcome this and come to a situation where we know that it's God that actually protects people, and that no matter number of guns you have, it has little or no effect.
It's a false sense of security. Security is not the presence of soldiers.
So when you now say that withdrawing security, policemen not attached to VIPs and the rest, I sometimes, it's news for news people. Yeah. So we have to report it. But at the end of the day, the pressures will come from left, right, and center. The police authorities, police high command will cave in and start reallocating or the same number of
I just was listening to a radio.
Those VIPs.
I was listening to a radio station this morning, and one caller was lamenting the fact that sometimes these announcements come because the police will want to begin the process of reallocation of security details again. And the process, according to him, will involve a lot of money. That sometimes he views it as a way to extort money from these VIPs. But Ijeoma Samuel is also with us in the studio.
Thank you, Amechi. I want to believe that the IG of police this time means business, because the first time he announced it, my heart was gladdened. But it surprised me to see some of these VIPs still going around with so many armed security men. And the one that is even bad of all, it's some of these security men exhibit overzealousness. I have been in an event where a journalist was pushed down by a security man who is protecting his boss, a VIP. The person is not a governor, is not even a senator, is just a politician. That day I was so mad, and I also saw when my boss, Mr. Boduri, almost took offense and almost attacked one of the security men. Said, "This is a journalist, you don't treat them like that," because the life of every Nigerian is important. If you're safeguarding that VIP, why then do you want to injure a journalist who is just looking for news? So these are the things that are not too good. I hope the IG of police will at this time get it right.
Put his feet down.
Yes.
Okay, we encourage him to do that, because by the figures that are being branded, around about 350 policemen under the employ of the Nigerian police, but about 150,000 of them in the service of VIPs. And like Ehedu Aneagu, our colleague, the chief press secretary to the Delta State government, will always say these policemen are being dehumanized on daily basis. Most times they are sent on errands to go to market. They carry handbags, portfolios of their principal. Sometimes, who knows, if you move into their kitchens, you may see them pound yams and help to cut vegetables if need be. Uju Eje is also in the studio with us.
Amechi, I hope, like my colleagues have said, that the IG of police keeps to his word this time. We are talking about security, and we know that God is the ultimate security. But again, security in the nation, Bayo Bodunri gave an example of when he went to Canada. What happened? Why would that be the case? Because the very elements that give rise to crime, the indices that give rise to crime have been taken care of by the society. You talk about poverty, you talk about lack, want. When a man is hungry for 2-3 days, he can do anything to get food to eat. By the time these things are taken out, social justice, social welfare of citizens are guaranteed, you don't need too many security people around you, because crime is minimized greatly when these social when social welfare is guaranteed to citizens. You find that only very few who are naturally criminally minded would remain. And
they can easily be taken
exactly. Care of. So do that, ensure justice for every citizen where no man will begin to seek vengeance. Then you don't need VIPs carrying people all around, carrying security personnel and turning them to errand boys and errand girls.
Anyway, let's take your mails and let's share some of the mails we picked from our email platform, political platform @yahoo.com.
It's the mail segment, and I am Etenikan Akepu, and joining me will be Amaka Okoro.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome. We'll begin with a reaction to yesterday's interview with the Secretary General of the Meiti Allah Cattle Breeders, and it's coming from Uche from Lagos State. It says, I listened to words of defense provided by the Secretary General of the Meiti Allah on your platform yesterday, in which he mentioned the loss of over 2 million cows as one of the reasons they were victims. And I ask, loss of cows, isn't it same as loss of assets, which occurs every day in all business ventures around the world? People's shops are being broken and their wares carted away. Loaded truck of goods and wares worth billions are being hijacked and stolen on daily basis. People's farms are being set on fire as a result of hunters trying to smoke out bush animals. Cars and buses for sale and commercial uses are lost daily by their owners. All these are assets, yet their owners never mobilize to kill people in such area of the incident. I think the headers should be advised to embrace insurance to help them in event of criminal loss, which is common in Nigeria today. May God bless us all.
And more reactions. Ayotunde Bank in Abuja says President Buhari's unique selling point in 2015 was his military background and apparent misplaced perception that he could keep Nigeria secured. But today the contrary is the case, as a bandwagon of killer headsmen have been unleashed on the country in what could be sheer negligence of outright deliberate machinations of some sinister forces within the polity. The orgy of violence in Basa, Kogi State, the latest rounds of killer headsmen menace is enough to sack the governor and install an administrator in a state of emergency. May God help Nigeria.
And this is the much we can take on the program for today. Keep sending us your mails through politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's right away go to the first headquarters. Jimo Moshood, Assistant Commissioner of Police, is joining us. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your new rank.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful. Glory be to God, to the General of Police and the Chairman of Police Service Commission. Thank you, and good morning, Nigerians.
Now, so many developments coming from the police angle. Let's start with the move to withdraw policemen attached to VIPs and other public office holders. Like we said at the beginning of this program, when the Inspector General of Police, the current Inspector General, resumed duties, he issued out that directive. It appears it wasn't followed. Now, another one is coming. And what is he going to do differently to ensure that these directives are complied with by the necessary authorities down the line?
Thank you so much. He gave this directive yesterday during his meeting with all the commissioner of police in the country, including their supervising assistant Inspector General of Police in the 12 zones of the Federation. And this directive is to be followed promptly, because the directive is immediate, and he has warned all the commanding officers to ensure full compliance to this directive. And because there's no doubt that the force is carrying out assessment of the personnel of the force, and after that policemen attached to unauthorized persons are withdrawn, because there's no doubt that the federal government has gazetted some certain category of political and or office holder for being entitled to have police ordinary and police guard. So those will not be affected, especially those that have to do with those in the judiciary, from magistrate to judges to the high echelon of judiciary. They are under the government gazette entitled. Equally, the principal officers in the legislatures also equally authorized as ministers, federal ministers, and honorable ministers, and others that have to do with running the activities of government are equally authorized. So all this category of people are authorized to have police personnel. But outside this, equally, not only VIP, including other Nigerians that are not even VIP and using police personnel that are not authorized are equally to be withdrawn. But that does not mean that people who have security concern, especially victims of crime, or apparently those who have suffered one loss or the other from the hands of criminals, they have to be protected covertly. But we look at what is the area of security assets and deploy appropriately. But police personnel is going to be withdrawn in totality from those who are not authorized to have them, and this directive is being followed.
That's in theory. In practice, it's always difficult. Yes, we know the Inspector General has set up a task force in Abuja here to monitor, but we know down the line in the state's local government, so many people believe the request for police protection and the granting of such requests is a cash cow, that it will be difficult to really implement this policy down the line across the nooks and crannies of the country.
It's not a difficult thing. We deploy this personnel on a daily basis for crime prevention and other duties. And this is the era of visibility policing. And this to ensure that we have more personnel, especially to spread to the area of intelligence gathering and other proactive policing strategies. It's not going to be difficult because we want people to know that doing that is not for any interest, and to ensure the protection of the generality of Nigerians. As we are part of the country, some people are a bit of trying to entice policing to going around protecting them to show that they belong to a certain class of a category of class in the society. That is part of the reason why they are equally being withdrawn. But the main reason is to ensure that we have enough to cover the all area in the prevention and protection of life and property of all generality of Nigeria. So it's not going to be difficult, because apart from the tax team that have been set up at the headquarters, equally at the state command level, will be directed to monitor.
You said something. You said something about limiting it to only those who are authorized to have them. Would that still not be a huge number when you look at the lawmakers, you look at governors, commissioners, local council chairmen, and the rank and file of leadership, judges? Would that still not be a huge number? And how are you going to get past that?
Thank you so much. It's not going to be a huge number. It's not, because this is what you have been doing over the year. When you take people in the judiciary, the magistrate, the judges, and the other respected functionaries in the judiciary, you can take away the fact that they need protection 24 hours because of the duty and responsibility the Constitution bestowed on them to carry it out. So we can't tinker with that. And if you look at even the legislature, it's the principal officers that are entitled to. It's not virtually all the people in the legislature that are entitled to. For those category of people that are deserted, their protection cannot be contemplated under any guises. And equally, so that does not take away it doesn't hit down consume the personnel of the force. It doesn't. Those have been provided for because this is statutory responsibility that we have to carry out for them. So, but outside that, for those personalities that are not authorized, the withdrawal is immediate and it's being carried out. So it do not affect the day-to-day running of other activities of the force as has to do with crime prevention and control.
Yesterday yesterday you addressed a press conference in Lokoja, capital of Kogi State, and startling disclosure that politicians are recruiting people and buying guns for people. Can you throw light?
You mentioned Dino Melaya.
You also mentioned a senator. Can you throw more light on the details of of your findings in Kogi State?
Thank you so much. I want to reiterate and probably make it abundantly clear to everybody listening to us that yesterday, I indeed, on behalf of the Fourth, paraded two leaders of political talk gang who are also on the wanted list of the Nigerian police force in the last 2 years for several kidnappings, armed robbery, and other related violent crimes. These groups have been terrorizing Kogi State and the other contiguous state to the state. In their possession, we recover catches of firearms and ammunition and other prohibited leather weapons. The one of them is Kabiru Saidu, aka Osama, who is 31 years old. He's from Dekina local government, but based in Ayangba. And the second one is Nuhu Talisu, aka Small, who is a member of the gang. We recovered the 2 AK-47 rifle, 5 pump action gun, 2 locally made pistols, which were modified to fire ammunition of AK-47 rifles, and equally hip-hop. But what the important thing for people to know is that working on actionable intelligence, the state command in Kogi and the federal SARS trail, like I said, they've been on our wanted list for quite some time now, trail and arrested them after a gun battle with this hoodlum.
And they confess that the guns were provided for them by Dino Melaya.
Thank you so much. On the issue of Dino Melaya, according to the gang leader, the Kabiru Saidu, alias Ama, he said he was working as a political talk for one Alhaji Mohammed Audu, who is the son of the late governor of the state. And he said it was Mohammed Audu that invited him to Abuja and introduced him to Senator Dino Melaya. Further to the police that they met with Senator Dino Melaya on Airport Road in Abuja, inside Senator Dino Melaya's car in the month of December 2017. He identified and told the police that he knows Dino Melaya very well, and in the process of meeting, Senator Dino Melaya told him that they should start working for the Senate as his political talk, and they should go ahead and recruit more members to work for him in preparation towards the 2019 general election.
So do you have plans to prosecute the Mohammed and Dino Melaya?
Yes,
or invite them for questioning?
As I speak with you, we equally make it clear during the press conference yesterday that letter was written by the Nigerian police force. The letter was the 2nd of March 2018, addressed to the Senate President of the Republic of Nigeria, informing him and requesting him to release Senator the Commissioner of Police from District on the 7th of March 2018 to answer all these criminal offenses leveled against him for the Convention of Practice for him to enable police carry out a district attorney. But Senator, as you speak, has not shown up to the police. Equally of notice that we have filed a criminal case, criminal conspiracy and possession of prohibited firearms against please,
we would like you to confirm and tell us if it is true what the police is doing about it, that there have been attacks. In fact, that there were attacks over the weekend in some villages in Kogi State, even yesterday, and some people have been killed in Ajo, Mayegbe, I don't know if I got that right, Eyade, Agbenema, and Okpada village, and some parts of Dekina.
The issue is that if the police is quick to arrest these talks who have been armed allegedly, is the police also quick to go after these alleged and suspected herdsmen that are killing people freely in Kogi State?
No, I think we should not dwell on this, because the life of every Nigerian is very, very important. I beg to disagree with you that to see people are being killed freely, it's not too good for us. It's derogatory to the life of every Nigerian. We are doing our best. We are quite aware this attack took place, and the police are on top of the situation. So some arrests have been made, and the attack have been prevented for that area in Kogi State. But before now, this attack, we call it incident where hundreds of cattle were killed and some 20 people who are herdsmen are equally recorded to have been killed, and the pressure have been there with because the police have equally been directed by the IG to hold this forum to ensure that on both sides of the divide, who are brought together and those who have been arrested are prosecuted. It is good for Nigerians to also know that the more personnel have been deployed to Kogi State by the Inspector General of Police, especially the mobile police personnel along that axis, and that is why we are making progress in ensuring that we restore lasting peace to those areas. But we want to implore the leaders, especially community leaders, traditional rulers and politicians, to impress it on their followers and the need to be in peace, and to allow police to carry out thorough investigation to all these incidents.
Okay. Thank you so much, spokesperson of the Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Jimo Moshood.
Thank you for having me.
We'll make efforts to reach Dino Melaye, and unfortunately we didn't have time to take Wale Oguade on some of these issues. Tomorrow he will be joining us, and also tomorrow we'll make efforts to go into the problem, a big crisis, imminent crisis in APC in Imo State between the Chief of Staff and Deputy Governor. To the governor, two men that are so close to the governor, one a relative by marriage, the other a long-time friend, each going at each other's juggler who will be the governor of that state.
We also have such a situation in Ekiti State where you have the governor rooting for the deputy to succeed him, and you have other members of the same party coming out to say, I want to be governor. It's going to be like this until 2019. We are expecting such such battle line between governors that are not returning and their successors.
Okay, the much we can take. Tomorrow, like we promised, you dwell on Imo Ekiti, the governorship election coming up, and we'll be having Wale Ogunade, a lawyer from Lagos. Thank you so much for being part of the program today. Let's do it again tomorrow. My name is Amici Anapwe.
Bust it.